Welcome to another episode. Thank you, Kev, for that awesome DJ intro. Love it, man. Where's Dariush, Dr. DJ, when you need him? By the way,
dude loves some Illinois, man.
I wish that man would unblock me and stop being a little, Anyway, we were friends many years ago. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Orange and Blue. Hopefully you guys have had a good week since we last talked. Obviously, Illinois destroyed Penn State shorthanded without KJ, and then a setback against USC Saturday. Hopefully that's the one stinker, Kev, that we get usually a year. And Brad Underwood talked about it earlier today, previewing Indiana. Like last year was Maryland. And every year there's like one game where we're like just scratching our head at home, like guess the guys didn't want to get up for it today, but whatever. I didn't lose any sleep over it. So I just kind of accepted that more today. Like, last year Illinois didn't have Terrence Shannon and we laid an egg against Maryland. We didn't have KJ against USC and a lottery pick. And close game you could have pulled out, but just didn't have the energy needed. So we got that. We got some recruiting stuff to talk about, a little bit on both sides. And if Illinois football finishing up their portal class. So a nice little show for you today. Kev, your initial thoughts.
Well, it's such a weird week, right? So you come off a good Pac-12 road trip, Pacific Northwest, and you win both those games in the Oregon game. You just handle business, and then you come back out and you're without KJ, last minute scratch, and you just decimate Penn State, right? And we haven't been on the show since that game, and that game was just unbelievable. I hope Ace Baldwin's okay, but it also serves you right for flopping like a maniac. And then we roll into I think this happens a lot, right? I think the first game when you're without a guy, or the first game after a coach is fired, those kind of things, they galvanize teams. And it's normally that second game where it bites you in the ass. And you go back right to the last year. I think the first game we didn't have Terrence Shannon was Northwestern in the assembly in State Farm Center. We beat them.
And Domask showed up and did his 30-point,
Yeah, we beat them worse. The score ended up being by 30, but we beat them worse than we beat Penn State the other night, in my opinion. That was we just decimated that Northwestern team. And then the follow-up game, I think was Maryland, and maybe a road game. We dropped a couple in a row, and that happened. So, the first game after you lose a player, you galvanize, you play well, and then the second game they didn't. Dude, that was one of the most lackluster performances I've seen of a Brad Underwood coach team. But you're right, Ryan. We seem to have one a year, and I'm okay with it happening in January. No students in the crowd. Hopefully we can. I don't know if students are back for IU tomorrow night.
By the way, what would you rate that crowd? It felt like a funeral, dude.
I did not. But what did they have to cheer for?
Okay, so that's a nice little debate we can talk about in 30 seconds. I'm the kind of guy, though, when I go to the game, I'm not only there to cheer when we're doing something, like scoring, right?
Right.
Like, if Kylan Boswell got a steal, dude, I'm going to get loud. Like, I'm going to be like, come on, even if they don't score. If he stripped Claude a couple times, I'm going to get up and make some noise. It's not just when DGL ties the game with a 3 midway through the second quarter,
Yeah, I think the challenge with it's sleepy Saturday morning crowd too. But I said it at the Citrus Bowl. Our fans need to go to Fan College, man. Their fans, the South Carolina crowd was granted they had more people than us. They were so much louder than us, and I don't know. It was USC,
I hear you. I get what you're
saying. It's just I think that we brought about the same energy that the team brought, and Kylan Boswell. I really, really like Boswell, and I know people want to bag on him for having a bad game with 6 turnovers, but he also had 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals, which was pretty. He's pretty close to the wrong way of a Cinquento double or whatever. But dude, too much sage. That's exactly what I was going to say, Joe Brenner. You can take that damn sage and shove it up your ass, Kylan. No more sage in the arena. We don't need that shit.
I love though and you know what? I think Brad and I think the team knows. Like, dude, our guy Raphael Davis, dude, lit their ass up about how they play. They didn't play with pride. He said when you got players walking around with sage before the game, not respecting USC, and like not diving for loose balls. You saw USC just diving for loose balls. They were energized, like AG was all over the place. They were dunking and screaming, and we got guys that are like, yeah, I'm not going to dive for that. It's early, and I'm thinking, what is this? Like, this isn't a Brad Underwood team. Like that game.
And they were still in it late. They played terrible. USC played well. It's really frustrating to me when we'll get a guy wide open for a three, a Will Riley, a Hum Rickhouse every now and then, DGL, even a Trey White. And these guys, if those guys had a 3-point competition with Roshan Ag or whatever Ag's first name is, and I love the way that guy played. He played great. If those guys got in a 3-point competition with that dude, they beat him 100 times out of 100, and that dude goes 3 for 5, and our guys can't make shit. And so it's just one of those things. And then Yates, I guess it's just the way he shoots. The first couple times he shot, I thought the ball was slipping out of his hands until I saw him shoot a free throw. I'm like, oh, that's just the way the dude shoots. They made a lot of tough shots. USC made a lot of tough shots early, and it's been a mark of our teams in the Brad Underwood era that we let guys get cooking, and then it's hard to shut off. Listen, the KJ thing, we know it impacted us on offense. Yeah, he's been a better defender than we give him credit for. We could have used a 6'6" guard to control Claude, right? That would have been beneficial and helpful. And so that's, it hurts. You got to make adjustments. You're probably feeling themselves. They just won by almost 40 points without their best player. They're like, we can't be beat. We're on a roll. And then there you go. That's what this team is not very old. Doesn't have a lot of veterans. And I think that's a thing that a veteran team would look at and be like, dude, them dudes on the other side of the floor are on scholarship too, right? So they really just got to pick up their bags and get ready and go play in a hostile assembly hall tomorrow night, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and this is just another lightning rod hot topic, and we agree probably for a lot of it. So there's a big crowd that get on Brad because they say he's not an X's and O's guy, right? Well, what do you think of those inbounds plays?
Which ones? The ones we were scoring off of?
Yeah, the ones that we were scoring off of, and the ones we were getting foul calls off of. But he's not an X's and O's guy, Kev. So.
No, I think the challenge is that people, they don't give the credit when that happens because they just expect it, and then when it doesn't go well, it's like an offensive lineman. The kid from USC said it best, dude. If you're an offensive lineman, if you're a defensive lineman and you get a sack a game, you're an all-pro. You're a Hall of Famer. If you're an offensive lineman who gives up a sack a game, you're working at Amazon. And that's kind of what our inbounds plays are, is like, if we make one bad inbounds pass that doesn't work for us, then Brad sucks. So,
yeah. But I will say this, and I don't know if you agree with this or not. I knew you wanted to get to it and say, oh, we're going to go at it tonight. Whatever you said to me, have some fun.
Sure, yeah. No, I just have some disagreements on it.
Yeah, so to me, I didn't like that, people are putting all of it on Brad. Like, Brad's the coach, so he should have them ready to go. Like, all those problems, they weren't ready to go. They missing shots, the free throws, blah, blah, blah. The open threes. They didn't adjust defensively in game. Brad, they switched, but then they stopped switching. And then
that's an adjustment.
Yeah, my point. Yeah, okay. He did make adjustments. They just didn't work out. But
we started with Hum Rickhouse on Claude, then we moved to Boswell, then we moved to White, then we tried with DGL.
I'm going to throw Brad some love here, though. He's showing you what a coach does, unlike Mick Cronin. Okay, because Mick Cronin literally threw his whole team under the bus, threw his assistants under the bus, took no accountability, and said he's won almost 500 games. And he's almost 53. He ain't the problem. He's tougher than every one of his players. Brad Underwood, knowing his guys didn't have it. They just had no energy whatsoever. And to me, that isn't on the coach. Like, at one point, at what point are guys 20, 21, 22, Ben Hummerhouse 23? At what point do you need to be like, hey, I have a basketball game. I need to be ready to go. I need to have some energy. I need to be excited. I need to represent the jersey. Why is that on Brad? Like, I don't think it is.
Well, no, it's bad teams, no one leads. Good teams, coaches lead. Great teams, players lead.
Yeah. This team can be great. It can be great.
Right. But I think the question is, and you and I have talked about it, I thought it might be Boswell, but who's the leader and the effort guy? And I think it's Boswell, but I don't think Boswell's a rah-rah talker guy. Yeah. I don't know that we have the rah-rah. Maybe it might be KJ. KJ talks shit to the other team enough. Maybe he talks it to his own teammates. So in a positive way. It's just.
And the people every year with Brad, we have these stinkers. Yeah, we'll have like 1 or 2 stinkers a year. But guess what? Look around the country, man. Like, look at UConn this year. You can look at Gonzaga, dude. They've like what 5 losses already. So to me, with the young team, I've chalked up the Northwestern one to literally being like the first
road game.
First road game for a bunch of 18-year-olds who are trying to play big minutes, and Abe Hummerkaus still adjusting to a degree. Tomislav, yeah, he's a sophomore. Still, I think it was his 7th or 8th college game. I'll chalk it up to that. Alabama was the 3rd game of the year against the oldest team in the country. Tennessee, crappy end-of-game execution. That was a game Illinois should have won. And then this one, just guys, this is the only loss that I'm like thinking, don't really have an excuse on this one. I know KJ didn't play, but I feel like this team had enough talent to probably hold off and win it.
It's going to all come together. I'm not that worried about it as long as KJ's healthy, which I think he is. And I know there's rumors out there about how the severity of it. And I'll be frank, Ryan, you and I have been trying to find out, and nobody knows. But listen, if I asked you 6 weeks ago, like right about Thanksgiving, who our best players are. At that point in time, I think KJ is starting to appear to be our best player. Tomislav would have been our 2nd best player.
A month ago, yeah.
Mm-hmm. A month, 6 weeks ago. Will Riley would be in the conversation of the top 3.
I'm trying to think a month ago. So that would have been in early December. That would have been right around Northwestern.
Right. The Arkansas game. The Arkansas game was Thanksgiving. So
I would say Hummerkaus would have been 3rd probably.
I would have been Will Riley by then.
Really? I mean, because Hummerkaus was on fire after Arkansas. It was just it was the Northwestern game where he really started struggling. So, anyway.
but the point is that like we're getting very little, especially offensively, out of Tomislav or Will
right now. Yeah,
and the team is and the Tomislav hasn't scored in double digits in a Big Ten game outside of Northwestern.
Did he look like he had a piano on his back Saturday, or was that just
there's something going on.
Yeah, because like he could barely get up to get a rebound a couple times, and of course,
hasn't been in double-digit rebounds since Missouri. I mean, like hasn't been in double figures since Chicago State.
I'm wondering if it's either he's homesick a little, or if it's just he's not used to playing these heavy minutes. Maybe, like I'm not necessarily sure what is happening with him, but if he's injured, then he needed to take a game off. You don't need to keep playing if it's, his back's hurting or whatever it is. Like, because some of those balls, those were loose balls, those are rebounds. Your big man, your 7-foot big man, has to bring in, and he didn't even attempt a couple times. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? And USC is an athletic group that's not a good combination. So definitely hoping that that's nothing serious with a VSH, meaning like he's got lingering back issues or something. But I'm glad you noticed it too.
Yeah, and Will Riley's 5 of 36 from 3 since December 1st, since after the Arkansas game. Since December, it was 6 weeks. He's 5 of 36 from 3.
Now, I know you saw my video I posted just so we can get to it a little about what you disagreed with me about Will Riley. To me, and anybody that didn't see it, my take on Riley right now is, while yes, I understand he has endless tapped out potential that can be, I still think you need to earn a start, and DGL has not ever got to start. He put his time in last year. He works his ass off. Brad says all the right things about him. Yes, he's getting 30. He played 30 minutes. He's getting more minutes. But let me tell you, behind the scenes, it's pissing his family off. It's really got him. No, he ain't gonna tell nobody this, but it's got him down. Like, what do I gotta do?
I know. I talked to his mom today.
Yeah. What do I gotta do to start? Like, at the end of the day,
what difference does it make?
Hold on a second. If it didn't make a difference, why start KJ? It doesn't matter if he starts the game.
Doesn't.
We don't need KJ to start, right?
Well, if you play 31 minutes and Will Riley plays 19 minutes, who played starters minutes and who didn't?
Yeah. So why does it bother him so much, Kev?
I think it's a rather juvenile way to look at it.
We're not on the team though, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, Will Riley minutes 15, 20, 17, 21, 14, 10, 29 against Penn State, which actually, despite his 3 of 11 shooting and 1 of 5 from 3, I thought he played well. 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 19. He's got one game in the last month. He's got one game since Northwestern where he's played over 20 minutes. It's not like it's
to me though. Here's what I'm trying to get at with Will Riley. Why do you need to appease him and his group because you're paying him so much money and you promised him these minutes?
Because if he doesn't get jerked around on a terrible travel call, he gets an and one at a critical junction in the game. It was a terrible travel call. A 2-foot stop where 1 foot slides is not a travel. There's another foot that
I'm not in disagreement with shitty refereeing.
No, but I liked what he was doing and getting to the rack. I thought he was doing a decent job there. Like, I mean, him getting downhill and getting to the rack and trying to get to the free throw line is a good thing for this team. And that's where, and he still only played 19 minutes. It's not like he was out there playing Dre Gibbs Longhorn minutes in that game.
Yeah, but I'm just letting you know, to Dre Gibbs Longhorn, I think it does matter. And so
it's playing more minutes in January than.
Yeah, and we can tell him all you want. You talk to his mom, we talk to his dad, we can talk to whoever. At the end of the day, it matters to some of these kids. So,
I also would have, and I love Dre, and I want Dre to play. I get super excited when Dre does good things, right? And I tell my daughters, I'm like, that guy's on our podcast a couple times. I think he's a great kid. I saw at a Penn State game, there were at least 2 or 3 3-pointers that he took where there was nobody between him and the basket. And I'm sorry, but like, I want to see that 6'1" dude go up, elevate, and poke on somebody. Especially when you're 1 of 7 from 3, go dunk on somebody, Dre. Like, be the animal that you are. He is a good shooter, but he needs to go attack in that mold. So
and I think we all agree right now until Will Riley's shots coming, his offense is coming, and yes, he got a bad call by the refs, but until the stats are going up scoring wise, I don't want to see more minutes for him. I think they need to stay where they're at. And just like with Ben Hummerkaus. So Brad Underwood dropped Ben Hummerkaus's minutes down a little bit until he had a really good game, which he did. And guess what? Now his minutes are going back up. I feel like that's how you go about it, not like we're just going to keep putting a circle in a square here or whatever.
But they're not. I mean, since December, they're not playing Riley all that much.
I'm not. So I'm saying the minutes need to stay or even go down. Jake Davis, I think, needs more minutes right now.
Well, here's the thing about it as well. We talked to Dre, so we've got a little bit of insight here. Who's the kid that needs, in your opinion, from watching him play, who's the kid that needs a confidence booster right now, Dre or Will?
I don't know. That's a good one.
Dre never needs a confidence booster. I bring him on this show and tell him that dude does not lack for self-confidence, never has, never will, and I love that about him.
I think
Will Riley's in his own head, and starting him is a ploy with KJ out to try to get a guy going.
I mean, I think that Dre is a confident person for himself, but I don't think he's going to necessarily come out and just tell everybody how much things it bothers him, So I know that. But I think and I need to get to know Will a little bit better personally, Kev. Like, we haven't even really talked to him. So
no, I just think it's demeanor in a way, like he passes up shots. I mean, Dre don't pass up shots, dude. Like, and I don't give it. And I know some people might be mad at him. Like, I ain't.
Let me be honest. Like, some of those threes he's missed, they're all around the rim.
I know they're right there. And we also know we watched enough of Dre's stuff when he was like with Overtime Elite and other things. Like Dre can catch a heater. Dre can go hit 30 in one of these days, and it'll be really special. And really
Do you agree about Jake Davis though? I think he's been playing pretty solid. He missed.
No, he's been doing great, right?
He's really good with his minutes, and he's being efficient.
Right.
Like he missed a layup that he got his ass chewed out for against Penn State, I think. But if you look at the minutes he had against USC and what he put on the stat sheet, pretty good.
He's that guy that's in the right place at the right time, and you have faith in him knocking down a shot. I think he stepped out of bounds on one, which kind of sucked because I was really hoping he
our whole team did. Trey did, Ben did, right?
Everybody did. No, but I listen, Will Riley's going to knock down some shots, dude. I'm just telling you right now. Like,
I believe it.
Go watch, like, guys, go watch some of the early games when he was on a heater, and while like this guy's impressive, they weren't just set wide open threes. They were tough shots. He's a tough shot maker, and I think it's got a little bit of similarity to the same things that Rickhouse was going through. I guarantee that guy is cooking dudes in practice. I guarantee he's hitting tough shots in practice, and he can play. It's just got to come. It's just got to come a little bit. The fact of the matter is, though, what with Jake Davis's play and with Dre's play, it's proven to be a deeper team than we probably with Jake Davis especially. We went from an 8 team to a 9 team, and now we're moving on. And guys, God damn it, Jeremy Fears is a guard. Will Riley is a wing. It's a different position. Jeremy Fears did not ask to come to Illinois before we had KJ Boswell and DGL already on the roster. And then when he decided to transfer, all those guys were already on the roster, and he says, I'm gone. There's already 3 good guards there. I'm leaving. He's a guard. Will Riley's a wing. It's different.
Fears was not ready to reclass yet after they got KJ.
So it was too late. Yeah,
it's too late. You can't have minutes, and it's also NIL dollars too, guys. It's not like the money's just like falling off the trees.
Hey, maybe Will and Jake just need some haircuts. Jake, no, I love his. Will needs to get the braids. Like he needs that little fluffy thing. He looks like a Fraggle Rock. Dude.
Yeah. Earlier in the year, he needs
to get the braids back. Get a little hood in his ass, man. Like because that'll help him play better. I think.
Yeah, he needs to. To me, I can't.
He's such a baby face, man.
I can't take him serious with the hair, but it is what it is.
He needs to get the braids going or something because
anyway. But maybe because I don't have hair, Kev.
He might be older than Merez.
So Merez had one of his worst games of the year against us. Yeah, and it happens. He's young. And I will say this too. You got Hummerkaus going right now. Okay, you get KJ back, who has been going the whole year. And then we had Trey White had a bad game against USC.
Yeah, first time.
Like he was missing those little 6-7 footers that you're like, he gets them into the lane, right? And gets his pump fake going. They weren't falling.
SDR, yes. Will Riley looks like he can't dribble. Nobody takes the ball from him, and he gets to his spots.
I saw some.
It looks terrible, but ain't nobody taking his shit.
Yeah, I will say that I saw some people making some points online that I was like thinking about for a minute. He is an effective, crazy, like wild dribbler.
It's weird. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's like it's herky jerky. He's always acting like he's.
It's kind of like Coleman had that too, and people said Coleman couldn't dribble, and I'm like, they didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah,
I mean, Will Riley hasn't had a game with more than 2 turnovers all year. Like.
It's Will Riley's really good about getting into the lane. If you've got to notice that, like he uses it. He uses his body really well, body control from his right hand to his left.
The thing that's messing with him is he's weak. He's light. He's not strong enough yet. And when he gets bumped, and those plays are called fouls at the high school level, they're not called fouls at the Division I level, and he's having a hard time finishing.
Yeah,
he's gonna make like 2 or 3 3-pointers in a game and all of a sudden get cooking. I have every confidence in him.
I don't know why though, dude. Kevin, I know we're gonna talk IU. I feel like we're gonna play well and win tomorrow. I just do.
I do too.
Yeah,
they're pissed too. They just got their doors blown off by Iowa. So
they did.
They're not in any better mood than we are.
No, I'm not, and I'm not going into it thinking we're only gonna win because we just got embarrassed. I'm thinking about it too in the sense of like 5-on-5, who's better, who's got a deeper bench, and especially if KJ plays. And well,
is Renew going to play? I don't think so.
No, Renew's out. He's out. He's going to be out for a while. Booth has been broken for some reason. I got to be honest too. When I saw his film, I kind of questioned it a little because he didn't really shoot that well last year at Notre Dame. And trust me, if Shrewsbury doesn't want you, there's a reason. I don't think you're real coachable.
But at the same time, that's the kid that we saw on Twitter putting in all the effort after the game, working with Deion Thomas on post moves. Who knows?
And it's okay to change and see the light at some point. I know.
Right.
I'm not saying he's a bad person, okay? But I can tell you this. When you watch him out there, there's a reason Brad does not trust him, okay? Like, there's a reason Jake Davis is getting minutes.
Those minutes, yeah.
And Booth is not. And it's not because he doesn't like Kerry Booth. What I'm noticing is not really good awareness defensively. I've noticed that, and hasn't been really a good rebounder. And I think the moment he gets the ball, he's shooting. You don't care.
Yeah.
You don't care time and score, and you can't do that if you put Kerry Booth in there in a 2-point game against USC. It's kind of close. You're not just going to go, hey, Kerry, second pass of the possession, just chuck it up. Like Dre may do that once in a while, but Dre's gonna take the ball and get to the rim, attack it, and try to find somebody. Kerry Booth is just worried about getting his 3-pointer off. So that's just what I've noticed about Kerry.
Yeah, his little mid range there late in the game looked good, but yeah, I don't know that. I'm not worried about. Listen, this is day and age in college basketball. It just is what it is. He's probably not going to be here next year. Seems like he's a good kid. I don't know. I hope the best for him. So.
Yeah. So now we'll transition real quickly into IU. So Illinois and Indiana both coming off of losses Saturday. Indiana lost 85-20 at Iowa in Hawkeye Arena. Illinois by 10 to USC at home. This will be the only matchup of the year between the Hoosiers and Illinois in the regular season. So the only matchup with Luke Goody against his former coaching staff and getting to play against one former teammate, Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn. And, of course, Ty will be on the bench, so I'm sure there'll be some love. But, I really got enjoyment out of listening to Brad talk about Luke Goody. And I even tagged him in some of that so he could see what Brad said. And he liked my tweet, so I know he saw it. He basically said, Brad Underwood said, he got his degree from Illinois in 3 years at the Geese School of Business, right? And he's always going to be an Illini. He said it was one of his favorite players to coach, very coachable, one of the best teammates he's ever coached. And you see that culture and that winning mentality he took from Illinois, it's at Indiana with him. Meaning you see, like I've seen Indiana writers talking about how they line up during technical fouls or flagrant fouls or whatever, and they line up all five arm in arm, shoulders and shoulders, just like Luke in Illinois would do at Illinois. He has brought that like brotherly kind of culture and winning mentality with him to like be a good teammate. Like don't worry about how much you're playing. Always try to put your best foot forward, and you see that there. So I'm interested to see the matchup tomorrow night and really to get that taste out of the team's mouth from Saturday. But Luke Goody starts now, so that's going to be a focal point for them. I'm thinking they probably put Trey White on Luke.
Yeah. One of the things is like he played 22 minutes the other night and then shot 4 threes. They don't attempt many threes, right? And Illinois' whole defense that USC exposed a little bit is we don't want to give up shots at the rim and we don't want to give up threes. And USC made mid-ranges and made shots at the rim and then ended up making threes.
They're making threes too, yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine you're going to put if KJ's back, you put him on Galloway, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Avicic obviously gets Ballo. Humrickhouse, you're gonna put Humrickhouse on Mbako? Humrickhouse is gonna guard Goody. And you're gonna
and then Trey White on Mbako.
Yeah. So
Booth or Hansberry. See, that's not really because Chester Frazier left, okay? And when Chester Frazier left, Hansberry was leaving with him. That's just how it works.
And I would take Amani Hansberry. I think Brad would too. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's not like a.
I don't think anybody's surprised West Virginia's good. I'm not. Like
Brad loved Amani Hansberry.
yeah, and guess what? He loved Sincere Harris too.
Yeah, I love Sincere Harris.
Yeah, so nobody's thinking like good riddance to those guys, man. We're so glad we didn't have those guys.
I agree with what Philip said. Philip said Booth it might be more of a project than, and I think that's correct. Sometimes you take guys with multiple years of eligibility in a transfer portal and a way to get them in their system and groom them and grow them as players. And if Booth is willing to put that work in, and who knows, maybe Calvin's in his ear saying, "Hey, like, listen, dude, you'll get better there. Keep working at it." So. The Indiana game will be interesting in that, I mean, Iowa cooked them from 3. I mean, they didn't take a ton, but they made 11. Iowa cooked them from everywhere. Owen Freeman went off. Like they just I don't know. This Indiana team is weird. Mike Woodson's not a college coach to me. They're really talented. Miles Rice, really good ball player. I love Mackenzie Mbako.
They don't really put teams away at home. I've noticed that. Like
Balo is a beast. That'll be fun. Merez and Ivicic will draw that. They don't get a lot off the bench. Tucker, Leal, Carlisle, like they're not much there. And with Renew, they're a little thin. I think
if Mbako has a big game, that's where Illinois can struggle here because Mbako goes off. Balo's going to give you his double-ish. And, Miles Rice is going to probably – and Goody or Miles Rice.
Here's the thing. Miles Rice is what makes everything go for that offense. Like
Boswell. Yep.
Boswell can shut his water off, dude, and they can really put some strain on them. I really like this game, especially if KJ's back, because you can put KJ on Galloway, and you can, I'm not really worried about Galloway. I mean, I know the guy can get going, but like he's not a guy I'm terribly concerned about.
And Philip, you say that, but guess what happens when Illinois comes to town?
Right.
You already know, dude. The second coming of Steph Curry's popping up tomorrow.
Yeah, I just really like Mbako's game. I like the way he plays. He seems like he's the one guy on that team. Like I love Luke Goody too. I wish he'd have stayed, but he's the one guy on that team that I'm like, I like that dude. I like Miles Rice too, but
yeah.
All the stuff that he's been through, cancer survivor. And
oh yeah,
it'll be interesting though. Then is it Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday another 11 a.m. tip. It's noon Eastern on CBS, so you get 19 Illinois. I'm gonna be honest. Michigan State to me looks like the best team in the Big Ten at the moment.
I'm not buying them.
Okay, but
I'll tell you why.
And that's fine. That's what we're talking about on here. I saw them go in there and just beat the dog snot out of Northwestern in Evanston, and Northwestern's tough at home. We saw that, and I know it was our 8th game, but to just dominate them like that, I think they're up by 25 at one point. I would say healthy Illinois, I'm thinking if we get KJ back, I think Illinois is better than Michigan State. Who's playing the best as of right now? It's Michigan State. I know Michigan looks good, but I still think they let teams linger that really shouldn't. And defensively, I know Dusty May's got a really good offensive team, but defensively, he is and they are who Dusty May's teams all are, and they're not good defensive teams. So now I know we're not talking about top 4, but I think Michigan State right now is playing as the best team. But I think overall Illinois can be, when KJ's here. So
yeah, and I had a good question. Who's MSU's best win? I don't know. Is it at Ohio State? And like they don't have any, like they haven't beat anybody that you go, oh wow. North Carolina, but that's proven that North Carolina's not very good. And then SDR, I'm telling you, USC is going to beat Iowa tomorrow night. I'm just telling you right now, USC is going to beat Iowa tomorrow night. And I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Wisconsin over the weekend.
Yeah, and they're both those games are in Southern Cal. So
yep, Iowa's inability to defend. Like I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. MSU's. So here's the thing why I'm not buying MSU. Like Philip had a good thing. They don't have like really marquee win. Yes, they throttled Washington, right? And I think that was a welcome to the Big Ten on the road moment for Washington. They were throttling Northwestern. They are going to get into you and they are going to run. I just have a real question about a team that shoots 8 3-pointers in today's modern game. I know Illinois fans are like, wish we'd shoot 8 3-pointers, live by the three, die by the three. Well, I'm sorry, it's still worth it's worth 50% more than another shot. So like, I think I just wonder about a team that just does not. I mean, they had 4 3-pointers attempted by their starting 5 against Northwestern.
So when we play them Sunday, we force, is that playing into what they want though? We're trying to force twos, right? They shoot twos. That's what they want to do.
We're trying to force tough twos. We're trying to force mid-range jump shots. Right, okay. It's the worst shot in basketball by an analytics standpoint, and here's where USC cooked us is they got all the way to the rim. So then even when they miss, when you get to the rim, even when you miss, a couple of things are happening. The propensity for an offensive rebound goes through the roof because when you get to the rim, it brings the help defender over, and then that help defender that comes over can't box out his guy, and that guy can get a putback, or you get fouled, or you make the layup. So that's what, and then. So that's what Illinois wants to avoid: shots at the rim and 3-pointers. If we can keep Michigan State from getting shots at the rim, I like our chances. I do. I think we can cause them some problems. I don't think winning at the Breslin Center on Sunday on CBS is going to be a task that's very easy at all. I think it's going to be a very difficult game. It's going to be a very tough game. I think it's our only – do we get them back in Champaign?
Yeah, we do. We get Michigan State in late February.
So. Yeah, Saturday night game on Fox, which our arena will be rocking for that one. I think we probably split with Michigan State is my guess. We'll probably lose that game at East Lansing. So
yeah, but I think you both agree. I think Indiana is a winnable game. I think they need to. They got to take care of business.
I think they got to come out with like fucking fire lit under their ass. Sorry for the F-bomb there, but they need to come out with like. We need to come out mad as hell. We need to come out like we were born with Luke Goody's red hair and got picked on our whole life.
Yeah, Luke. Hey, but you know what? When you're born into a family like that, dude, and your uncle's Trent Green, and
I met some of his other uncles too. Them dudes are all like 6'7". They're monsters, dude. They were standing behind me in line last year at the Eastern game. So,
oh yeah, that's right. Terrence Shannon Jr. raised rafter jersey night against Michigan State. That's right.
Mm-hmm. You hate SDR hates Indiana the most. Mine's Iowa by far.
What will be your reaction if we're 0-2 this week? I will say that you got to win the next 2 at home. When you get Maryland and Northwestern at home, you got to win them both.
Yeah, I would say that like the schedule can open up a little bit after this week. Obviously, you got to go to Pinnacle Bank to finish, but we got some winnable games up in the future.
Illinois
we could go on a nice little run this week. A split is probably. I don't know, expected, but I think the February schedule for us sets up really, really well. But I 0-2 week doesn't have me. It probably puts the nail in the coffin of a Big Ten title. I don't care about a Big Ten title. I want another Sweet 16 run. So,
yeah, I think 5-3 you split here this week, and then you're looking at a team that can be 9-4, 10-5, something like that in the Big Ten after 15 games. So
yeah. Then you got Maryland at home, Northwestern at home, on the road at Nebraska, Ohio State at home, at Rutgers, at Minnesota, UCLA at home, Michigan State at home, at Wisconsin. I mean, you could go on a run there. You could start ripping off some wins there.
Yep, no doubt.
The Rutgers game looks a little bit more daunting. They beat UCLA tonight.
UCLA's struggling bad.
They're getting that. They're getting that. This is something that a lot of teams, these Pac-12 teams, didn't realize coming to this conference to play basketball. Is that I don't give a crap. You take the worst team in the league, maybe sans Minnesota right now, but we all know that place could be a tough environment when they're halfway decent. But every other arena in this conference that you go to is a tough place to play, except for the State Farm Center at Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. because we're terrible at 11 a.m. Saturday games.
Yeah, you could have heard I'm not kidding, dude. You could have heard a pin drop during some of the game. I'm thinking, all you hear is sneakers and a ball dribbling, and I'm thinking, there's 15,000 people here. Thank
goodness we don't have any more of those at home. So
yeah, and the students will be back for the next group of home games. So yeah. So there's that. I don't think either of us are worried about the outlook of the team. Neither of us are worried about KJ being out any more extended time. I'll be shocked if he's not back by Michigan State. I'm just going to say that.
Everything says he's practicing. He's got a sleeve and a pad and like on his arm. And Thank goodness it's his left arm, so we'll just go from there.
TSJ just put 33 in his second G League. When did he sprain his ankle?
Might have done it in that game.
Yeah, like okay. Like, and I'm gonna be honest, we'll talk about that for a second. I might do that in my final thoughts, but
he's 33 points, brought his average down in the G League.
Yeah. So we'll get to that with. Okay, what's the truth with the KJ injury? I heard. Okay, St. Dominic's Rosary. If you've not been listening, me and Kev have both said here. The truth with his injury is that it's not going to be a season-ending one. He's not going to need surgery. It's something that he just needed to rest. And there was, if you looked at it, it was like
a bruise with like a bone bruise with a lot of inflammation.
Yeah, a bone bruise. It sounded like it happened at Washington, and he was able to finish the game. And
then, a busted lip and a busted nose in that game too. Like he got beat up.
And when they came back, he re-aggravated. One of his teammates dropped an elbow on that same forearm and re-aggravated it worse. So it was something he probably could have played through against Penn State if he didn't have a teammate land on the same spot. 250, 300-pound guys, man, that's not going to feel good. So, yeah. So anyway, we're not worried about KJ being gone, being shut down for the rest of the year. I think he plays tomorrow night, Kev. What do you say?
I think he plays tomorrow night.
Okay. Now, I think Illinois is going to win tomorrow. I'm going to say by 5. I'm going to pick Illinois by 5.
I think we split this week. I think we win, and I think we lose a close one in the Breslin.
Okay. All right. Now let's move on here to what we got going on with Illinois football, the transfer portal, dude. Brett Bielema and staff. How could you just not love what basically a cherry on top, Kev? What's your thoughts on the transfer portal class, the top 10 transfer portal class, by the way, Brett Bielema?
I looked at it coming into it. I said the areas of emphasis probably in this order were, and it changed with J.C. Davis. So defensive line was number 1 for me. I think we addressed that fairly well, and we addressed it with James Thompson. I think is a stud. He's the stud get. Duluwalaje is a guy who can be a stud. I think he can be as good, if not better, than Dennis Briggs. Neil Lowry can be that rush in / he can come in that NASCAR turbo package, whatever we want to call it. Thought they did a really great job there. My next priority was offensive line. We came in and we kept J.C. Davis, and then we added Kanapkick. And I thought that was a really nice get there. That's actually what I'm hearing through. There's some different rumblings of what's going to happen with Kanapkick, Idaho transfer. Really good player. What was it, Big West or whatever conference they play in?
Big Sky.
Big Sky. Sorry.
What rumblings you hearing?
A possibility that if Priestley beats him out for the right tackle spot, that they could redshirt, that might be up for a redshirt and then take over next year. Also hearing rumblings like from one of my guys that they think that Melvin Priestley's more suited to be a guard, and Kanapkick can come in and play right tackle, and then Priestley can push most likely Geske or Henderson, which I doubt. So it'd be competition.
There's no way Priestley's not going to start, though.
I'm with you, but he's really graded low on PFF, which I don't necessarily agree with. But I'm with you. I think Priestley starts. I just think it's a great add to the offensive line. Then wide receiver was another one. They added wide receivers there, and then the nice to haves were kind of like, man, we probably need another tight end. And then once Hugh Robertson said he was done, and Declan Dooley said he was out, we definitely needed a punter. And oh my goodness, we got
all Big Ten punter, Kev,
with 2 years of eligibility.
That's right.
And a tight end who played wide receiver in high school, probably an unheralded guy from South Dakota State, who's 250 pounds with 3 years of eligibility. I mean, there's things about some of these kids that you get in that next year the tight end position is going to be Arkin and Rusk. But we all saw that Rusk got hurt. You might need some extra help there. And so that's a great depth piece add, but it's a guy who could come and play maybe in a couple of years and really give you something there. So I think they did, and I think Clement has 2 years of eligibility. I'm not sure about Bowick. Like that's critical is when you add guys that can come in here and, hey, listen, if you want to play wide receiver for Illinois next year, you better bring it every day. If you want to play offensive line for Illinois, you better bring it every day because we got guys that will take your spot. You want to play running back, you better bring it. You want to play defensive line, you better bring it every day. You want to play linebacker, you better bring it every day. This is so different. This is
coming back, Kev.
Right. This is the best. This is the best roster since 1989 and probably 1990. 94 was really good, but the results sucked. This is an incredible roster front to back. Incredible.
Big hopes, and I think we all are expecting Illinois to be in the preseason top 20, and it looks like a lot of people or publications are putting in down for that. So
hey, this is a fun question from one of our loyal guys, my buddy Nathan Durst. Ryan, what running back depth 1 through 4? What do you got?
Running back depth 1 through 4, and let's just assume Caden Fagan is there next year, and he's not playing linebacker, and he didn't transfer. Okay, I'm just saying that. Okay, so just in case there are any tea leaves out there, if it happens, I mentioned it, so just remember that. Swami said it. Okay, 1 through 4. Here we go. Okay, so we got Fagan. It's like, we can't do 2A, 2B because
sure.
Okay, 2A, 2B, Lawfrey, McCray. Because I'm gonna be honest, as good as McCray has been, dude, Aiden Lawfrey has impressed the hell out of me the last.
I think he starts next year.
Okay, he started in game 1. Yeah, you're right.
I think Aiden Lawfrey is not necessarily the bell cow because I don't think this team's going to have it, but I think there's a chance that he leads the team in rushing yards next year. I was so impressed with his ability to make guys miss in the hole. Our guy Dion and I were talking about it on Twitter, like in his acceleration and his speed and his ability to run through some tackles. Like he looks like a guy that can put up a big season next year. So
I'm gonna be honest, for a white boy, did you see that stop in your track spin move?
Dude. And then the ability, like then he gets hit and he doesn't go down. Like he's all 200, 205. Like that dude could get to 210 and he could be a beast.
And it's not, and look, I don't really care. But I just want everybody to know this, and it's not bad. It's just going to be weird to see because you don't see it a lot. Illinois is going to have the widest, most skilled offense in college football next year.
Hey, baby, Hudson Clement, Aiden Lawfrey.
Let me do it. Here you go. We got Luke Altmaier, right? And there's going to be moments he's going to be handing the ball off to Aiden Lawfrey, right? And he's going to have Cole Rusk to his left, Tanner Arkin to his right, Hank Beatty to his left in the slot, Hudson Clement at the sideline. And he's going to have Alex Kapka-Jones to his right. Okay, just listen. It's going to be all white guys in some sets. It's all white guys. And people are kind of going to look out there and like, is this South Dakota State? Like, what is this?
It's funny when we got Lawfrey, I reached out to Aaron Henry, and because I saw some of his tape and how fast he was, I was like, Aaron, you're going to try and steal that dude and put him in your defensive backfield? And he said, I wish. He said Barry and the guys won't let me get anywhere near that dude.
And look, to me, it doesn't matter. You just don't really see an all white offense. No, and there's going to be some sets next year where it's just white guys out there.
I mean, the white running back is a little bit more rare than a white wide receiver, but the most rare is the white DB. So yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. But anyway, I told that to Kedrick one time.
I found it really funny when Will Compton did the NFL race draft. I know people got their butt hurt about it, but I thought it was funny.
Yes, it was good.
The white guys are getting cooked in the secondary. Sorry,
not as good as his Mike Vrabel impression. Did you see that?
No, I haven't.
He basically did what New England Patriot fans are going to be expecting. So he let Will Compton go up there and pretend to be him, and he was like, "Soft tish guys, let's go ahead and get that fixed. We need you out there. Let's go. Let's get that shit fixed." Oh man, and he was like 77. Let's watch this game film. He's like 77. He's like, are you gonna fucking get a hand on somebody? Like, what is this? And then he had the whole Titans team rolling. That was when Compton played on the Tennessee Titans. So let's get to we'll get to final thoughts here.
Do you want to talk a little recruiting?
Yeah. So I'll talk about it real quick, and then we'll get to final thoughts, just because we don't want to get past the hour mark here. So, as I mentioned, you guys follow me on X. Orlando Antigua was in New York over the weekend with Jeff Alexander. He was watching a lot of 2026 kids. They like Darren Rippey Jr. from Blair Academy. They were watching where Alan Griffin was recruited from, Orlando Antigua, in his first stint at Archbishop Stepinac. There's a player, if you guys remember, Theo Ratliff. He has He's got two sons on that team. They're both big kids, Adonis and Darius Ratliff. And they both have offers from like Syracuse and Mississippi State, who's rolling right now, offering them. He went and watched them over the weekend along with there's that 2027 kid, the point guard they really like, Perez or anyway, Josh, something like that. Anyway, he's really good. Plus, they had some other under-recruited kids. There's a kid named Ethan Johnston from the Hill School that they were watching there at the Superstar Shootout in the Bronx. So Jeff Alexander was at the shootout while Antigua was at Archbishop Stepinac. Then they double-teamed Blair Academy to watch Darren Rippey Jr., who is like they call Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. He's like Donovan Mitchell Light is what they call him. So that's exactly what one of the sources and scouts who was there, who I was talking to, told me that, like, you know, I said, hey, Antigua's going to be there. And he's like, that's Donovan Mitchell Light right there, Darren Rippey Jr. So, which is a high compliment. There's a bunch of schools in on him right now. Rutgers is trying to get in on him because of the Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper situation. You know, they're trying to basically say, hey, you can come thrive here and all that good stuff. Some other good teams have jumped in on him, but Illinois, I think, I'm shocked if they hadn't offered him already. They will be. So, yeah, that's what's going on with basketball recruiting. They're still going to be going overseas and recruiting some kids overseas. That's just part of what Illinois basketball is going to be doing. No visits at the moment, but I know the staff is working on getting some before the season ends. So I'll try to post those and tweet those as soon as I find those out. For football, junior day, they had a bunch of really good players on. I'll be posting a couple more crystal balls here in the next day or two for the 2026 class. But a bunch of really good kids they're making good impressions on. So, you know, I think 2026 is going to be the best class for Brett Bielema so far, rankings-wise.
Yeah, I mean, hearing great things about Grant, the wide receiver from DeKalb.
Dude, he's a hell of a basketball player. He's an athlete, man.
He's over 1,000-point score. Like that was a really good get. So
yeah. Anything? We'll go ahead and start with you with final thoughts, Kev.
Yeah, Nathan, I was thinking the same thing. Tonight was a really, like, we just had some flow and some fun and just goofing it off a little bit, so it was fun. The final thoughts is listen, I talked about this, Ryan's talked about this, a lot of that this team was still going to take some time to gel. We thought we'd turn that corner, and then when you lose a player of Casper Harris's ilk, it really changes things. The other one, I mean, like, the only other guy in the lineup that you could see that would have that kind of effect, I think, would be Tomislav. And the reason, and before people jump down my throat, it's because it's a big that stretches the defense and it makes things really difficult. And while Merez is really good, Illinois would have to change kind of the way that we play basketball a little bit with Merez as our primary five, and probably have to play Booth in the backup five role. But losing Kasparis really just it junks up the progress that the team made, and it was disguised a little bit by Penn State being without their top facilitator and their best player in Ace Baldwin. So don't get down.
Puff Johnson either.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Don't let this game, like Joe said, it was a negative game. Don't let this one beat you up. Illinois will be fine. What Brad has done has been really positive. The challenge for us that frustrates the shit out of us is if we lose the Big Ten conference by a game, you can look back to this one. If we get a 3 seed instead of a 2 seed, you can look to this one, or a 4 seed instead of a 3 seed, you can look to this one. If Brad doesn't win Coach of the Year, you can look to this one.
Yeah.
You know, you can look to all those. Those are the little things that get you pent up. And Sean, no, I wasn't taping the game or nothing. Appreciate you. I'm just busting your balls, dude. So no, just don't lose focus of the fact that this team is really, really deep. It's really, really talented. We've managed to go on a nice little run and then got our got our teeth kicked in a little bit, but we've got guys who aren't playing that well, who we know can play well. We've seen them play well, and we've got guys emerging. What's going to end up happening is going to be a 9-man rotation by the end of the year with guys you can count on to come in and do their job, and that's really critical. It's going to be really critical in Big Ten play because we're going to get into some foul trouble here in a little bit. We have already seen it. So just Illinois basketball, good spot. Illinois football, best spot in my adult lifetime by a mile.
That's right. So my final thought, other than – please, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, Nathan Durst, tell everybody you know and then everybody they know. We're getting it up over 800 here. We're getting close. We'll get to 1,000 here hopefully by football season. That's the goal. And so we appreciate you guys. Keep commenting and subscribe if you haven't already. So enjoy where Illinois sports are right now. When was the last time women's basketball was really good. Illinois men's basketball was really good. Illinois football was really good. It was probably in 2001-ish, right? Something like that. Yeah. It was probably about 23, 24 years ago. So
Nancy, whatever her name was, seems women's basketball.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Teresa Grants was
Teresa Grants.
Yes. Sorry. I had to literally pull that door in the back of my head open like – what was her name? Yeah. All right. So it's a great time, to be an Illini fan. As much as Saturday irritated me, I was like, thank goodness, Indiana's on Tuesday. But I know that these teams with Brad Underwood, they don't let 2 and 3 games go by where they're going to be lackadaisical. They're not going to play up to his standard. They're not going to have pride. So that's how I know. And be rest assured, they're going to show up tomorrow. But enjoy these moments, enjoy these times, because, man, we went through about a decade there of crap. So as bad as it can be when you lose a game that bothers you some, just remember that where we were in the 2010s, right?
Yeah.
Remember the 2010s.
They did not belong to the Illini.
Yeah, they didn't belong to the Illini. I try to take a step back and reflect. And as much as, people want to complain like, oh, it's same old Brad. Oh, every year we lose stinkers. Maybe he's not the right guy. That's just silly. It's just nonsense, okay? It's just nonsense. So
we could have hired Archie Miller.
Yeah, we could have. Yeah, that's right. Other than that, Tuesday tomorrow night, 6 p.m. And guess where it's at? Peacock.
Hey, one quick thing, guys. I put this on Twitter. You can get out there. There are 2 teams in the National Basketball Association that play the smallest bench by far. The New York Knicks play 8 guys. They run their guys out there. Tom Thibodeau wears the shit out of them. It's been his way. Finch in Minnesota does the same thing. They play 9. Minot does play every game, but it's less than 10 minutes. They're the only teams in the NBA that aren't playing 10 guys 10 minutes a game. Go look at the stats. It's not Terrence's fault. He got drafted onto a decent team with a coach who doesn't play guys. Rob Dillingham isn't playing. Terrence isn't playing. So our hopes, our thoughts, our prayers, whatever, is that somebody has some interest in getting Terrence at the trade deadline. But why they would trade him, I have no idea. Because
they won't. They won't. He's gonna waste his first year away. So is Rob Dillingham too.
Yeah, Finch is most likely going to get fired, is my guess, because Minnesota is struggling this year. Yeah. And they won tonight by 20. They were up by 20 the whole game and still didn't get guys in. It's just a bad situation for Terrence to be in because the coach doesn't play guys. So, but also understand this: nobody guards anybody in the G League. Everybody's just trying to get buckets too. So.
Oh, yeah, and I want to mention Deion Sanders maybe coming to my Cowboys. Huh?
I'll take Mike McCarthy, the Bears. I don't care what anybody says.
And for final thoughts, we can say whatever the hell we want, so we're finishing up. I think the Bears will be a playoff team in 2 years if Mike McCarthy's their coach.
I think it'll be a playoff team next year.
Yeah, I like McCarthy as much as a bunch of my Packer fan friends want to talk about. Before he got hired in Dallas, they're like, good luck with that guy. Yeah, let's see what his record was in Dallas. He was like 20 games over 500. So,
the sixth best passing offense during his tenure there. They had the 3rd best passing offense during his tenure at Green Bay. There's the 2nd most offensive yards in the NFL since he got to Dallas, next to the Bills.
He develops quarterbacks, by the way. He's very good about that. He's a good leader, too. I think the Bears fans, you guys would like Mike McCarthy. I liked him in Dallas. This year wasn't his fault.
No, that roster's
Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, dude, barely even played all year. You lose Dak Prescott. I mean, the list goes on. And then they don't want to get him a running back.
And they got no running back, and you got no money.
Yeah.
You got no money. It's all tied up in CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. That's really difficult to deal with anything.
So, anyway, I think you Bears fans will like Mike McCarthy. That'll do it. Illinois, 6 p.m., Peacock. We'll see you next weekend. Swami out.
ILL.
I and I.